Hey guys, what's up? It's Dave. I am going to go through the earnings watch list that I have for myself this week. I'm going to go through levels that I find interesting for some of the names that I think are interesting and might be some of the stronger names that have potential that move the markets or that could be meaningful to the markets. So firstly, I'm going to open up. This is the earnings watch list I have created so far of names that I kind of been watching provide earnings. I just organized it by earnings date. And you can see McDonald's, it's coming up on Monday. And what is it? Monday before market opens. Thank you, TradeIdeas, for sending that up there. Appreciate that. All right, so McDonald's, let's take a look at it. On the daily, you can see that up here, it got smoked on this gap down. This might have been an earnings reaction. Honestly, I don't know what happened. Either way, it got smoked. Has found supply at this gap area from 315, call it, to 300, call it, and has found that supply 1, 2, 3 times already, and it has been consolidating within this range. Here is a look below and fail, so it broke this support level around 290. I have a dog here in my mouth, sorry. Failed to move further down, that is, accepted back into the range. Opposite end range is target. So strong move up, it flagged and then tagged the opposite end range. Again, found supply and it sold right back off. This was all happening while that longer term trend, the 50 SMA, was flattening to starting to curl downwards. The shorter term MAs were longer term, like downwards. So this bounce here is yet to be trusted. Similar to what's kind of happening now, except a little bit of a nuance, a little bit of difference. So it found supply, consolidated near the lows, broke that. Okay, consolidated here, found the 200 SMA, and had a strong push off of that after consolidating 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So about what, 2 weeks or so? 8, 9 days, 10 days. Strong push off, flagged down here and broke that flag. It broke the flag on, was it Thursday? Let's see what the volume was on Thursday. It might have been pretty decent. We shall see. Sorry, hang on, let me bring this up. Work, please. Volume was okay. I don't know what the R vol on that was. R vol on Friday was 1.59 with that much. So you would expect at least to be 2R, at least that, because that's pretty close to doubling it. Either way, so large, so flag, push up, inside day. With earnings being on Monday. So this is kind of like another look below fail. If earnings were on Monday, if there are no catalysts, I would trade it to 300, 302, this top end. Maybe this is the undercut. Maybe it's kind of churned out, washer machined out all of these trapped longs here and nobody else is selling. And so if we have a nice cost basis here, it's ready to turn on upwards. So playing earnings, what I would do potentially if I were to trade that. Let me zoom out here a little bit. And so if you can see it, supply level again, right? So that was a pretty important level there. If price were to, number one, gap down to this area here, I would probably be a buyer. It did already have that gap fill. That's from this two. I think that's a gap. It looks like a gap to me. Let's go over, please. Yeah, right here from this 280 to 278 or so, 282 to 278. So gap fill there, filled that gap, and now it's heading on back up. So anywhere around this level, 280 to 275, I'd probably be a buyer here. With a nice tight stop, right? This could easily go down further. But with the 50 SMA now flattening and starting to curl up that way, that tells me supply is starting to slow down, selling starting to slow down. So I'm actually biased towards the upside. Now, what I would want is for a long trade. This would be a long trade. If it gaps down into here, I'm not touching it. I would want price to reject down here quickly. So if it were to get down here, I wouldn't want to spend a lot of time up here. I'd want it to stabilize maybe for 1, 2, possibly 3 days, and then quickly move back up because there's no more selling. There's no more transactions occurring down here, right? The more time it spends down there, the more likely it's going to continue on lower. So I would look for a quick rejection of these lower levels on a gap down. So if it gaps down here, I would look for it to get bought up. If it gaps up, I would look for it to gap up within this gap down area, maybe sell off for some supply, profit taking from basically the individuals up here, and then people up here that are still trapped. If they're still holding, that might be an opportunity for them to break even. However, there's not a lot up there. It's not a lot. Most of the cost basis is here. So if this is most of the position, it gaps up, they take a little bit of profit, selling stops, and then it might trend upwards. So I would be looking at this $300 level for McDonald's for the earnings. A-Lab has been a popular one. This is a 200 SMA. It literally just started just a few weeks ago, early January. This doesn't have a lot of price history to it. However, if you want to look at the weekly, it is holding the kind of like the weekly breakout area. It's holding its IPO highs and all that good stuff. So this could be a potential support play area, especially with that big old bottoming tail last week. This could be a decent entry area. However, it is not the type of play I would look at because for now, this just kind of looks like a short covering bounce. I would wait for another test of somewhere around these lows, at least the 87.30 lows, maybe a low of like 95 and push on away so it can continue to make higher lows. It's working on filling this gap. It's got a lot of trap buyers up here. Shorter term trend lines are trending down. The 50 SMA is starting to flatten. It might start curling down here shortly. So it's not my favorite look. Maybe earnings can get it going. When is it? Earnings post market on the 10th. So what is that? That is that's tomorrow. Maybe it gaps up above here. If it gaps up above the 50, that'd be great. Then maybe the shorter term trend lines can start trending upwards, and it can provide some sort of pullback buy that we can get into. So that'd be ideal. So if it went up, pulled back a little bit, and then headed higher, that would be nice. But it's not on the top of my list. Shopify now. Shopify's another story. Shop looks nice. This just has a beautiful flat base of 120 to 105 or so. So 120 to 100, call it. It's just chopping from sideways. I'm pretty sure this is earnings here. It's just done nothing but go sideways since earnings. Ideally, if we have a gap down here to 104, I'd probably be a buyer. Even to 98, I'd probably be a buyer. Anything down here, I would be a little cautious. I'd probably expect like a short cover bounce. But if that happens and it gets back to this level, there's a lot of supply up here that could be potentially introduced. Now, if it gaps down here, gets bought up, accepts back up in this range, then it can go higher. I can see that happening. Otherwise, if price stays in this range, I'm not touching it through earnings. I'm waiting for it to break this range. So price could gap up above this range. I look for some sort of I don't trade intraday. I'm a swing trader. I'm at work most of the day, so I don't have any like intraday. I have intraday setups, but I can hardly ever execute them. So I would most likely wait for the initial 1-2 potentially 3-day move up, and then probably wait a week and a half, 2 weeks for let that move to digest to create a flag or a pennant or a triangle or whatever it might. Use anchor VWAP from the earnings to see how that sets up. So those are the ranges I am watching for. Any gaps down, potentially be a buyer. Gap up, I'd let it rest. Inside the range, I'm not doing anything. Coca-Cola kind of looks like it's trying to turn around. Nice little base. It still has this level to break here. Let me mark it for you. It might be a little bit easier to see. I'd say I'd watch that 64, call it, and then 65 and a half, 66 would be next. If it can break that 200 SMA, I can see it going higher, but it's not a favorite look of mine. BP looks like it's trying to turn around. Nice little sideways consolidation here, breaking out, kind of retesting and hold it so far. However, the 200 SMA, it is trending downwards. And so I'd be mindful of that. That's just a lot of supply overhead. Especially it doesn't move enough for me either. I'm not a super fan of it. So hang on, let me write down what I'm looking at here. So McDonald's would be maybe a decent reversal play. Shop for sure. Watching for that as a favorite. GILD. This is a pretty solid look here, potentially. Sure. So a lot of chop sideways, and it finally broke this level right there. Retested those highs, and now it's coming back for a retest of this $95, $94 level. It'll have the 20 EMA confluence in that area. The 50 SMA is pointing upwards. So, and even if you zoom out on the daily, momentum is higher. It broke these highs here. It held it. I think I made a post about this. I think it was like 14 weeks above this. If you even want to zoom out even further on the weekly, let me make this bigger for you. Huge base, right? Big base. And it broke out and it is now holding it. So if you have the patience, like even long term, that's a nice solid long base there. If you want to start it back in 2016, it's really gone nowhere and it's finally above it. Short float only 2%, nothing crazy, but this could be a nice long-term hold. Looking at the weekly, what can we target? There's that. Kind of already hit that target, so supply. And then maybe following that, and then we can go to all-time highs after that. So we've kind of already hit the 101, 102, $100 level. Then I'd say 115, and then I'd say 125-ish, somewhere around there, as long as we can clear it. However, it has to clear it first. So it's pulling back to this kind of the midpoint of the range here, right where that prior level break was. This could be a potential decent buy opportunity. It really just depends on what earnings provides, and that is on the 11th. That is on Tuesday, aftermarket. So GILD would be on top of my list for this week also. Would be decent look. Dash, this already broke out. So it's on Tuesday aftermarket. If we got a gap down here, especially to this 180, I'd look for a retest buy level here. Certainly if it gapped down to here, that could also be a potential buy area. This kind of is what happened with that DeepSeek news. Like SMTC, VST, they all gapped down to the lows of the ranges and did nothing but get bought up, right? So this is why I am saying this, right? Gap down to so prior range here, gap down to the lows, undercut it kind of, and just got bought up though. Prior highs just got bought up. It just got smacked even some more though. This is why I'm not in it anymore. So maybe that could be in play. Something like that. However, shorter term, definitely trending upwards. It just broke out of this multi-week base. It's nice. If price gaps up, I'm not going to touch it. Most likely I won't have time unless I don't work on Tuesday because of weather reasons. That's a potential. Maybe I could take some day trades on it or have a decent entry. I don't know. Either way, if it gaps up, I'll look for intraday action. Maybe let it, get a 1, 2, potentially 3-day move out of it, depending on what it wants to do. This is on a potential gap up. If I can't capitalize on a short-term 1, 2, 3-day move, I'll let it flag. I'll let it go sideways. Do a little something like this. Hopefully not that long up until next earnings. If it does Wednesday, I really don't care. ZG, Zillow Group. This has been pretty nice. So downtrend line obviously broke it like a V bottom. Looking at the weekly, this is a solid weekly chart. Let me zoom out for you. Nice long base, broke out of this level here, this 64, 65 level. Nice move out of it. Came back, retested over a few weeks on lower volume, and now bounced away. I have a target level of 106. It really just depends on what earnings does. So if it gaps down some, I'd be a buyer somewhere around 73, because that's an anchor VWAP prior to this gap up here. This might have been earnings back in November. It was unable to fill that gap up. That's where it sold back down to, basically, right? And the retest. It was a retest of those highs too, which is right here. Just a lot of confluence in that area. And so any gap down to set a higher low, I'd have to wait for price to kind of settle and show it wants to continue up higher. Maybe you can set an anchor VWAP to this high. And then once it, gets a couple days, if it wants to cross over that anchor VWAP, then it can go higher. We shall see. But I do like ZG overall, Zillow Group, as a potential play for this week. I'll put Dash in there as well, I suppose, but it's not at the top of my list. Lyft, I don't know. This is just sloppy. It's just been in a range. It's did I put an anchor VWAP up here? I can put an anchor VWAP from the top here. It's under it. Maybe earnings gaps up, maybe sell off, maybe it gaps down to these levels, buys up. I'm not super interested in Lyft where it's looking. It's just sloppy to me. It's got a 13% short float though, so depending on how it acts, I don't know. Not at the top of my list. UPST looks interesting to me. This could be a potential decent look below and fail scenario. However, it did spend some time underneath this level. It did a little gap fill here. Now it's getting back into this range. So machine wash this supply. Whoever is sold has sold. Whoever is bought has bought. It is now back in this range. Depending on how price acts, I'm not going to touch it in this range. I want it to really break out. However, if earnings doesn't have a reaction, which I kind of have a hard time thinking that it won't do anything, because this thing does move and it does have a 24% short float, I'd be interested to. This one won't be at the top of my list, but I don't know how I would play this because this range is pretty large. A gap down, I might buy it around 54. That's a pretty deep, steep gap down. 200 SMA. It's just a lot of indecision right now, but I find it simply interesting because it's back in that range. All right, so I will keep an eye on that for sure. SMCI, I hear this name going on around a lot. Maybe it's trying to bottom. Maybe this low, is the low. Huge move off of it, kind of flagged down a little bit, and now it's breaking that down trend line. I don't know. It's just not clean short-term trading for me. CVS, I'm not touching that. All these lines are going down. Make it simple. Nope. VRT kind of got smoked, hitting the supply area. That's on Wednesday before the market opens. It would really have to gap up for me to be interested, and then I'd have to learn to trust this thing, to let it get some time, let a flag form or something like that. Bros, I'm already in this. I will be selling before Wednesday. I made a couple of remarks on it already in my prior videos and what I tweeted out. I'll be selling. Ideally, you get a nice little run up before Wednesday because I want to sell at the highest price I can. But if it wants to gap down to this level here, maybe that could be a decent support to buy, especially with the 50 SMA confluence there. But this is a strong stock, so you can just the trend is up. So I do think, especially with a 7% short float, pretty decent. I'd say it's significant. 5% significant. 5% above. I think dips are buyable with this name unless they completely miss earnings and there's just such a guidance change, which is always possible. I don't know. App, another one. I know a lot of people are looking at this. I'm already in it. I will be selling before. Look at the weekly. Nice chop consolidation. Now it's breaking and it's making higher highs. little pattern in this thing. It seems to like to gap up, sell off for a couple days, gap down, and then get bought up, and then gap up, and then sell off, and then get bought up, and then gap up, and then sell off. So it's kind of annoying, to be honest with you, but it's grinding higher. So I got a decent little gain on this so far, 6% short float. This thing has moved, right? This is a mover. So maybe earnings will get it to move again, and which direction, I don't know. You can go watch my prior videos on how I played this, but either way, I will be out before the 12th, before earnings on this thing, because I don't hold through earnings. CSEO, pretty ascending, pretty solid look. Ascending triangle, nothing crazy with a short float. Earnings is on Wednesday after market. I would be a buyer probably on any gap downs. These are just levels I'm kind of looking at here. It's breaking all-time highs. I think it's breaking a huge base. No, it's at supply of a huge base. So, oh yeah, that's what I would do. That'd be awesome if it gapped above 65, held it, and then started trending for, after being in just sideways motion for years. What was it, 2018? And basically going really nowhere. A lot of short-term volatility, but overall, it doesn't really move. It's kind of a stable stock, price-wise. Maybe some option trades on that. I don't know. I don't do options, so like option range trades. MGM is this week. This might, I don't know. Newer lows were made. I'm not interested in this name. No, lines go down. No. TDD, the trade desk, downtrending. Lower lows are being made. This could be a look below and fail. Look, if you want to create this support line right there, right? Support, undercut it, kind of getting back into it. And so this could be a look below and fail trade, which if that is the case, target could be 125. And then maybe it breaks that downtrend line, and then it hits that 125, and then it pulls back to create a higher low versus this 112, and then it can get going. However, that would probably take some time. Earnings is on Wednesday. I don't know if that would really happen in 3 days with earnings coming up. So maybe earnings can gap it out of here, hold this level, and then continue up higher with that. Reddit, I missed this one, unfortunately. Solid look. Market, earnings is on Wednesday after close. I'm looking basically within this range. Maybe a gap down to here to retest it would be okay. I wouldn't mind it. But dips do look viable. This is a strong trend. Trend lines are up. Short float is high at 18%. I do like RDDT. That will be a asterisk sign for me this week coming up on Wednesday. I would love to get some sort of entry on that. Hood, Wednesday, strong name, broke out, pulled back to the 10 EMA. Now it's just grinding higher. I own this for a few months now on my longer term account. I don't have anything in my short term. I'll be looking for some sort of gap up to a flag or a gap down to support. Either way, any gap downs and some time and settlement and waiting for shorter term supply to chill out look viable. DDOG, I do like DDOG. This looks like it's trying to turn around. This could be a potential decent buy area, especially on any gap ups. Any gap ups and then sell off, I do think earnings could be a catalyst to get this thing rolling again, especially I think the week looks solid. Let me zoom out. Yeah. So look, it's excuse me. It's retesting this breakout area right now, right? It had a strong push on volume last week. It got smacked down. But there's buyers there. Maybe that was just a lot of short covering. I don't know. But that's a strong push, and then it sold off, and now it could be setting a higher low versus this 134, 135 level. So maybe it starts to curl up, or it kind of looks like a bear flag. I don't know. Might just be a little bear flag. So if it breaks that, it could head lower. I don't know. Only time and price will tell. Nor do I really care what happens, to be honest with you. Deer, that looks pretty interesting. Another V bottom. What this looks similar to. Was it? What was it? It was ZG, right? Look at that. Pretty similar to that. But you zoom out to the weekly. Pretty sure this was like at its highs. It's breaking out. Look at that. Broke out, create a new high, pull back, set a higher low, and then created a higher high. Now it could sell off and maybe create a higher low and follow this trend line. Either way, it's interesting. It's pretty volatile, surprisingly. 2% short float. It's nothing crazy, but it moved from 402 to 480. What was that? 20%. Basically 400 to 480, 20% in 2 weeks or so. So not bad volatility. I do like deer. So these are some levels I'll be looking at. It is volatile, so it's not a clear direction in my opinion, other than just a short term. I don't know what's going to happen, but I do like deer for its volatility. AMAT, that's sloppy. TWLO, I missed this one, unfortunately, but I do like the base break on huge volume, gap up. There's some sort of news. I don't know what happened. This is on Thursday after the market closes. Nice time correction, letting the shorter term MAs catch up. This has kind of happened before. If it gapped up, trended up the 5, gapped up, trended up the 5, and then time corrected, let the 10 EMA catch up here, push, time correction, 10 EMA, that might be really like the 9 or 8, push up, right? So this does respect the 10 EMA in the past. So I do like TWLO. This will be one of my top looks too, just simply because of the strength that it's been showing. MSI looks like it wants to start curling around, so these are the levels I'll be looking at. 480 to 500. It has some, I think it has some work to do, not at the top of my list. DraftKings looks sloppy. Coin, I don't trade this. There's some levels for you though. It's just sloppy. Once crypto gets some sort of direction, sure, but this is just chip chop, slop. Airbnb, sloppy, just gets smacked down every time it has some sort of volatile price motion. So maybe you want to short it. I don't know. I don't. RNA creating lower lows, right? Maybe it's trying to find a bottom. I'm not touching it. And then I believe that's it. Those are all the earning names that I will be looking at this week. To go over it real quick, asterisk sign with TWLO. Deer looks decent. DDOG looks, what happened? DDOG looks okay. RDDT, Hood, already missed it. RDDT, this isn't, you know what? I like Hood a lot. I'll put Hood up there because it's a stronger name. Asterisk sign on Hood, asterisk sign in RDDT, TDD down to, whatever. Let's go, whatever. App. I'd say an asterisk sign on app. Cisco, it doesn't really move too much. I like movers. Bros, I would do asterisk sign on Bros. VRT, meh. CBS, meh. SMCI, meh. UPST, asterisk sign on UPST. Lyft, meh. ZG, yeah, Zillow Group, asterisk sign on ZG. Simply because of the weekly chart, by the way. Dash looks decent, asterisk sign there. GILD, asterisk sign there. BP, bleh. Shop, KO, decent. Shop, yes, absolutely. And McDonald's, ALAB, meh. A lot of people like ALAB. Go listen to them about it. I don't like the look. McDonald's, decent. I just don't trade a lot. All right. That is my weekly prep. I'll be focused on earnings and then focus on what I am currently holding. There are a lot of other good names out there. A lot of good setups that are available on my long list. Just going through the top ones, there are a lot of them that are already responding to earnings, setting up flags, and moving. So I'm just kind of watching those. Look at that spot. Earnings gap kind of setting up a little flag there. I needed to pull back. Garmin's in a decent range. One's earnings February 19th. So there's some other names for you. You can slow down, take some screenshots. Love Expedia look. I think I ended. I'm gonna add that to my earnings reactions list here. So there's a lot of good names moving. TKO, right? There you go. Good stuff. Good stuff. Let me blow this up for you real quick. So this is organized by the score. TradeIdeas score. Basically, it takes into account fundamentals and technical analysis of where it's at. So the higher, the better. So slow down, screenshot. There are the names if you want to go look at them. This is what I'm looking at. Also, it's just my list. But as of right now, I'm focused on what I have already, and then what I am kind of earnings. Trying to take advantage of earnings season. And doing that. I do like sound here too. Yeah. I don't know why I'm looking at this. That's why. And then Root is another one I keep kicking myself on. I entered it here, got stopped out, and it just never got back in. Could have been a nice winner, but oh well. All right, anyways, thanks for your time. Hopefully that helps. Do the work ahead of time. Get a plan. Mark your levels. Don't just trade willy-nilly and pull things out of your butt out of left field. All right, later. Thanks for your time. Bye.